All right, boys and girls, here we go. Let's continue our journey to the one and only Bob. Find a comfy spot, put up your feet, find a spot that you enjoy, and here we go. Remember, the tornado just hit. Bob was with the aardvarks, and he hit his head. He's a little dazed and confused. He met the giraffe. All right, here we go. I pick up my way past the devastation. The tornado has left a random path of misery. The African aviary is gone, simply gone. The kids' farm nearby, untouched. Although there are some very flustering chickens clucking like all get out from the safety of their hen house. I see a few people, hopefully a lot of potential visitors, were scared off by the threatening weather. It looks like some of these animals listened to their early warning signs, those little voices inside telling them something bad was coming their way. Quite a few seem to have taken cover before the brunt of the storm. Wish I'd pay more attention to my own internal weatherman. I pass the penguin viewing window, the one that allows visitors to watch their graceful swimming. Several penguins are underwater, swooping and swirling. Joe, Jim, I call, and they both swim over. Bert, okay, I ask. Baby Bert pops his little head out of the water. Hey, Bob, did you know we were having a storm? Yeah, I noticed. All good here, Bob. You? Yeah, I took a little flight, though. Daddy, says Bert, can I fly? In the air? No, said Joe. You fly underwater. You're a penguin. Bob flew, and he's a dog. Bob is a very special dog, says Joe, and gives me a look, a grown-up, just between us look, and when he says, we're all right, but what about the others? Baby sloth. I say goodbye to the penguins and continue on my way. So much has simply vanished. Walls, fences, barriers, netting. The orderly world of the park, with all its careful lines defining territory, isn't so defined anymore. Many of the habitats are still entirely intact, but not all. What will this place be without fences and walls? You didn't need to watch the Nature Channel to know that certain animals like to eat certain other animals. I pass two squirrel monkeys swinging happily from the children's carousel. A pelican watches from her perch on a popcorn stand. I see a camel and a zebra together, looking stunned to be standing side by side. I notice a red lemur, Merlin, on a picnic table. Lemur's eyes are always big if you ask me, but Merlin's eyes look like they're going to pop right out of his head. I make my way through the splintered wood and glass shards and approach the gift shop. It's roofless, stuffed with toy animals that are scattered here and there like they've tried to make a break for it. An I Love Koalas shirt dangles from a tree branch. Around a corner, I see a baby sloth, Sylvia. I think her name is. She's resting on the muddy plush giraffe. Hey there. She makes a tiny noise. A sloth sob, I guess. Let me help you find your mom and dad. I am not one for hugging and licking as such, but I give her a little nudge with my nose. Sylvia somehow manages to grab the giraffe and looks back up at me like she's expected to hitch a ride. How the heck do you pick up a baby sloth? It's not exactly part of my job descriptions. And sloths are so, slothy. Carefully, I pick her up by the scruff the way you do with a puppy. She puts that silly toy in her mouth, and off we go. And there's a little picture. Can you see that one? It takes a few minutes, but I find her mom, Selma. I deposit Sylvia on a patch of wet grass. How can I thank you? Selma cries. No biggie, I say, and I head on, with fear in my belly and an odd taste of sloth in my mouth. Oh, excuse me. Make no sudden moves. I've ridden all around the grounds of the park in Julia's backpack, enough to know every inch of this place. I've chatted with many residents, but now everything is topsy-turvy. I find myself in all places that I don't want to be, like the wolf exhibit. Near the entrance, a sign lies crushed on the ground. It has a picture of a gray wolf with an arrow pointing one way and another arrow pointing to the Empire Penguin on it. To my right, I see a piece of hay stuck deep into the tree trunk like a pencil in a cupcake. To my left, water gushes from the pathside ditch, a broken pipe. The boiling sky has settled into a solid black of gray, and rain quieted to a steady drizzle. Still, I smell more bad weather menacing in the distance. Menacing in the distance. Tossed into a bush is a large informational display with a photo of two gray wolves. I don't see any fence or barriers or intact wall. And it dawns on me that the grumpy wolves and the tiny dogs may not make the best of pals, especially under these circumstances. Just as I start to leave, a wolf on the sign seems to move, to blink. Oh, he isn't part of the sign. He's next to the sign. It's Kimu. Hey, I say. No answer. Something tells me that I should hightail it out of here. Something else is saying, make no sudden moves. I hate it when my brain disagrees with itself. I split the difference, crouching meekly, doing the whole submissive dog thing. Kimu locks his gaze on me. I try not to make direct eye contact. A lot of animals find that threatening, but his eyes are memorizing. Glowing ambers, the way and way too smart. He moves again. Two paws appear. Big paws. Nothing like my feeble shrimpy feet. These paws are the size of hamburger buns. Hamburger buns with lethal claws attached. Mutt versus wolf. What do you think? I wait for him to launch into his pounce. Maybe if I time my escape just right. Yeah, sure. In a battle of Chihuahua mutt versus wolf, even I wouldn't bet on the dog. Do they break your neck before they eat you? That only seems fair. My heart's doing this crazy tap dance in my chest, and I wonder if I can hear it. I sneak a peek at him. Strangely, he keeps staring at me. Quickly, I avert my gaze. Those eyes, those chilling, dangerous eyes. It's me, Bob, I say. Kimo says nothing. He's panting hard. Maybe he's disoriented, maybe even hurt. I try to speak again. My voice seems to be hiding somewhere under my deep in my throat. Try another. Kimu? He blinks. Are you all right? No response. Anyone else hurt, I ask? This time, he seems to hear me. I don't know. His voice is a low whisper. Can I help? I ask, really hoping that the answer is no. Susie, I can't find her. All right then, I say. I'll take a look. I poke around a bit, careful not to go too close to Kimu. A sour smell pours off him like sweat off a human. I don't see her, I say after a few minutes, but I'm sure she's probably fine. Just a little shook up probably, hiding somewhere. He doesn't answer. I should go. I'm looking for some friends, I say. Is there anything else I can do? He looks up at the shady sky as if there's an answer waiting. I don't know, he says. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, at least you didn't get eaten, right? Whoo-wee! Put that encounter with the wolves right there. Gorilla world. I move on and I have to find my friends. I just have to. But where am I? I leap over another mangled signpost with bent arrows. One way to Reptile Villa. One way to Lionland. I pass Mangrove Swamp. A manatee pokes her big head draped with Spanish moss like a silly wig. Two workers in a yellow raincoats trot past me. One has a bloody bandage on his cheek. I need to stop, regroup. Cool it, Bob, I tell myself. I'm panicking. I'm not taking in the right data. I try to blot out of the horrible smells and all the awful noise. I concentrate and I let my nose do the real work. A whiff of something familiar. Gorilla? It has to be gorilla. Full run now. I cut my back left paw on a shard of glass, trip, and fall hard right on my nose and cut that too. Dripping blood, I carry on. Find 'em, find 'em, find 'em. A massive old oak lies on its side at the entrance to the gorilla world. Huge tangled roots group into the air like frozen snakes. And just beyond where Ivan lives is nothing but devastation. Help us! A stone wall separating Gorilla World and Elephant Odyssey is gone. Pieces of both domains mingle. An elephant toy here, a gorilla nest there. Part of the indoor gorilla space has crumbled to the ground. I scan the area where Ruby and her herd like to hang out, but nothing. No gorillas either. Out of nowhere, the rain picks up, coming sideways, blinding me. The wind howls like a hurt dog. The storm is not over, not by a long shot. I leap over a pile of cement blocks and catch my hurt foot on something sharp, yelp, and I keep going. Ivan! Ruby! Nothing. I get a slight rise, leap onto another overturned tree, and I try to make sense of the damage. Red and blue lights cut through the rain. Police, fire engines. Good. We need all the help that we can get. I take in several lungfuls of the hideous air. It's too wet, too full of conflicting odors, like a mishmash of scents that I can't decipher, especially with my busted nose. The wind gathers speed, pushes at me with an incredible force, and it feels like I'll tear my ears right off of the sore noggin. I can barely stay upright. Wind like that, storm wind, that doesn't carry any scent. It liberates it. Help! Help us! It's a tiny, desperate voice. Maybe even Ruby's. Kudzu. I pick my way through the debris, trying to lock in on the sound. It ain't easy. Please help us! Climbing over the remains of the wall I once was sitting on, what seems like moments ago, I find myself at the bank of the moat. Ruby! I call at the top of my lungs. Uncle Bob! The sound of my name cuts through the gloom like a shaft of sun. Ruby runs to the opposite edge of the water. She's maybe 8 feet away, but I can barely make her out in this crazy rain. You stay there, I yell, trying to be heard over the wind. I'll come to you. I follow the bank until I come to a spot where several chunks of wall tumbled into the water. 3 careful leaps and I'm across. Ruby runs to greet me and she wraps her mud-coated trunk around my neck. And oh boy, I am so happy to see that sweet little elephant. You hurt, Ruby? Is everyone all right? Ruby sniffles. Yes, but come quick. She dashes off before I can ask anything more. 5 of Ruby's aunts stand by the elephant's side of the moat. Each one has her trunk plunged deep into the dark, muddy water. They look like a bunch of kids trying to find a lost toy in a swimming pool. It's almost funny until I see what they're reaching for. A baby gorilla is in the moat. The tiny gal keeps grabbing for her trunk to hold on to and then slipping free. Her terrified screeches fill the air. It's Kudzu, Ivan's favorite. Okay, the gorilla's stuck in the moat, which is in the water. All the elephants are trying to pull it out. What is going to happen? That, my friends, is one of the main ideas that you should write down on one of your slides. I got an idea. I'm going in, says one of her younger aunts. Might make things worse. Displace the mud and pull her down toward the bottom. I could go in, I suggest, the words popping out before I can swallow them. It's more mud than water, Bob. You'll get stuck as Kudzu. I don't exactly argue the point, but I've got an idea, comes a small voice. All the ants turn toward Ruby. and she looks startled to have their complete attention. A couple of us can get on the other side of the moat, Ruby says. Grab trunks and we'll make like a, what do you call it? A sling, I exclaim. A hammock like gorillas have. I don't know, Ruby. Kazoo grabs for the trunk with both of her hands. Wait, I think I got her this time. Masaka lifts her trunk with desperate slowness, carefully trying to support the baby gorilla. But once again, Kazoo cannot hold on. She lets out a despairing cry. Down she goes, lower this time, her nose and her eyes just visible. Okay, let's give Ruby's idea a try. All three elephants move with surprising quickness to a spot where they crossed. They gallop back until they're facing us. It's so strange to see them on the other side of the moat. With the wall destroyed, they're technically in Ivan and Kiani's domain. Move down a bit, he said. That way, she motions her head. We want to scoop her out, not push her down. 3 on a side, 3 on one side. The elephants reach out for the other trunks, creating a kind of cradle. Okay, now lower carefully. Down they go to look in the muddy water. Ruby nearly loses her footing, so I grab her tail with my teeth. Doesn't really help, though. She yelps, ouch! But my heart's in the right spot. Kazoo thrashes her tiny arms. Stay calm, I call. Easy for me to say. She looks over at me, and I'll never forget the fear in her dark eyes. And then she vanishes below the surface. Team Elephant. Hurry, Ruby cries. The elephants bend lower, moving like a giant elephant shovel. Where is she? Lower, lower, sisters. There, Ruby yells. No, wait, there. Up. They interlock the trunks and rise from the muddy water to reveal a tiny, trembling baby gorilla sitting in their makeshift sling. Kazoo! Stay calm, baby. We're going to toss you to safety, okay? Kazoo gives a little nod. On my count, start swinging. 1, 2, 3. Up and over the trunks, and up and over goes Kazoo. She lands with a little plop on the gorilla side of the moat, right next to Masaka's rear legs. Good work, everybody, and good thinking, Ruby. Thanks, elephant, says Kazoo, wiping it from mud from her eyes. That was so fun. Can we do it again? Quickly, I make my way back over to the moat. Kazoo, I say, follow me. Let's go find your ape peeps. Can I go with Bob? Ruby asks. Akello touches Ruby's back with her trunk. I'd much rather you stay here, dear. And it's May I. But Uncle Ivan, Ruby pleads. I'll keep an eye on her. I'm going, Ruby says in her most determined voice. Maybe I can help. I helped just now. Akello hesitates, but finally gives a slow nod, probably because she figures there's no arguing with Ruby. She's right on that one. Ruby crosses the moat and joins Kazoo and me. Be careful. There's more of this storm coming. I got her. You better have her, she warns. I think I flew, Bob, says Kazoo as we weave our way through the wasteland that was once Gorilla World. Yeah, me too, I say. It's been that kind of day. What's out there? A handful of humans, firefighters, police mostly, have begun to roam the grounds checking for the damage. We pass the park employee with a weapon slung over his shoulder and a net in one hand. Trank gun, he tells the passing officer gun. We don't know what's out there. She nods. How fast do they work? On something like a big cat? He shakes his head. Not fast enough. I look over at Ruby. Stay close, kid. As we near the gorilla villa, what's left of it anyways, a screech hits my ears that makes the wailing police sirens sound like meowing kittens. It's Kiani. She frantically knuckle runs back and forth near the collapsed gorilla villa. Chunks of cement, shredded wood beams, and a bent metal lie everywhere. A cluster of gorilla females and juveniles huddle not far from some of the rescue workers. There's Mama! Kazoo cries, dashing toward the gorilla named Jody. I'm so horrified by the destruction that I've almost forgotten my muddy little charge. I really shouldn't be trusted as an ape sitter. Kazoo darts over to her mother's waiting embrace. Judy nuzzles her and strokes her and soothing motherly gorilla things like, thank you, Jody mouths to me. Don't thank me, I say, looking over at Ruby. Thank this little gal. She figured out how to save her. Thank you, Ruby. Isn't it Ivan's friend? Ruby gives a shy nod. We all helped. I provided moral support, I added. I flew, Mama, says Kazoo. Of course you did, dear, says Jody. Kiani's fresh wails focus on my mind. I gotta go, I say. Ruby, you should stay here. I'm going for a nonsense voice. The one Julia uses on me when she calls me Robert. Let me see what's what. I'll be right back. No way, Uncle Bob, Ruby replies just as firmly. I give up, but I'm afraid of what she might see. Of what we both might see. Any signs of Ivan? Asks Jody. She shakes her head, a grim look clouding her eyes. With Ruby by my side, we approach the pile of... Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Approach the pile of wreckage that used to be the gorilla villa. At the same moment, Ruby and I gasp. There's Ivan's hand barely peeking through the rubble. Not moving. I know that hand like the back of my own paw. No, Ruby screams. Uncle Ivan. Uncle Ivan! I check the crowd. No sign of Julia or George. Nothing. No Maya either or other keepers I recognize. Just a few employees, several rescue workers, and 2 or 3 dazed-looking visitors. Is he alive? A firefighter asks. Hand, whatever it's called, it's not moving, says another. Weaving my way through the tangled legs, I climb up the rubble pile, sniff a bit, and bark my loudest. Yes, he's alive. Get your rears in gear. Just like the overachieving rescue dogs in a man's best friend show, I listen for the sound from Ivan, a grunt, a cry for help. Nothing. Still, he smells alive. At least I think he does, and that's good enough for me. Okay, we're going to stop right there. All right, go back and please make sure that you better finish that last one with Ivan not moving, okay, and make sure you stretch that up. You write 3 complete, fully detailed sentences about what I just read in chronological order. You got this. It's our last week of school. You can totally do it. Take your time. All right, make it good.